Fans of Coronation Street admitted they felt deeply uneasy as the newest installment of Todd and Theo's abuse plot unfolded, especially when a familiar face unexpectedly returned to the scene. Viewers said the recent developments in the troubling storyline between Todd and Theo were difficult to sit through. The funeral director, portrayed by Gareth Pierce since 2020, has been subjected to escalating coercive behavior from his partner Theo, played by James Cartwright, with the mistreatment spanning emotional manipulation to outright physical harm. In the latest episode of the long-running ITV drama, it was revealed that Theo had deliberately left a noticeable love bite on Todd's neck from the previous evening. The builder appeared disturbingly satisfied, bragging that he had effectively marked Todd as his possession. While heading out to start his shift, Todd spotted young Jake, Wendy's lounging against the hearse parked outside the funeral home. Irritated, Todd challenged him, asking how he would feel if someone loitered against his father's car. Jake cheekily replied that his dad would likely respond with violence. Jake soon clocked the mark on Todd's neck and mocked him for it. But their exchange was cut short when Todd's employer, George Shuttleworth, stepped outside and scolded him for squabbling with a teenager in public. Regular viewers are aware that Theo has tightened his grip on Todd's life, even taking over his finances and leaving him short of money while frequently disappearing on unexplained trips. Todd's humiliation continued later when he visited the corner shop and realized he couldn't afford his purchase, awkwardly trying to cover up the fact he was broke. Jake happened to be there and sarcastically offered to lend him some cash, an offer Todd flatly declined. Feigning innocence, Jake claimed he had only been trying to help before Corrie referencing the large bruise on Todd's neck and making an inappropriate joke about whether he might be pregnant. Stunned by the remark, Todd lashed out and threatened him, only for Gary to enter the shop and demand to know what was happening. Ultimately, Gary sided with his son and criticized Todd, pointing out that it was hard to act morally superior while sporting a conspicuous hickey like an infatuated teenager. Back at home, the atmosphere grew even more unsettling when Todd found Theo pedaling away on his exercise bike. Theo, who works alongside Gary, had just been informed by phone about the clash with Jake. Dismissive, Theo told Todd he wasn't interested in excuses, but expected assurance that such embarrassment wouldn't happen again. He complained that Gary's comments about keeping Todd in line made him appear weak. Exasperated, Todd protested that he had never wanted things to spiral this way. Theo twisted his words, questioning whether Todd was implying that their intimacy the night before had been unwanted. Caught off guard, Todd hesitated before confirming it had been consensual. Theo then insinuated that Todd was suggesting he didn't enjoy being intimate with him. Pushing further, Theo insisted that Todd declare his love. After a long pause, Todd reluctantly complied, telling him he loved him. Many viewers turned to social platforms to share their reactions. One user on X praised the show for handling the storyline powerfully, saying it was distressing to watch, but impressively executed. Another contributor on Reddit echoed similar sentiments. Producers have already hinted that a shocking death could be looming with a flash-forward scene teasing a future victim. Still, some fans expressed hope that Theo would survive so he could be held accountable rather than the plot descending into a typical whodunit mystery. One commenter noted that although the narrative has been painfully uncomfortable, it reflects real issues that shouldn't be ignored, but worried the ending might veer into melodrama by killing off a character and launching a murder investigation arc. One viewer suggested that the writers should allow the plot to unfold realistically with the abuse eventually being exposed and the authorities stepping in constructively. They added that in modern times, police officers are generally more skilled at identifying manipulation and deceit from controlling partners, and the show ought to reflect that progress. Sharing a similar view, another fan commented that they hoped the storyline wouldn't escalate into further violence or killings. They described the plot as increasingly distressing with every episode and stressed that while the issue is rooted in real-life experiences, it's important for Theo to be exposed by those who claim to stand by Todd as friends. Elsewhere, some longtime viewers were taken aback by Jake's unexpected return to Coronation Street. The character first appeared on screen in 2013 during a surrogacy arc in which Tina McIntyre, portrayed by Michelle Keegan, carried a baby for Gary and Izzy Armstrong to help settle financial troubles. Although Jake has popped up occasionally over the years, several fans questioned the timing of his reintroduction. One viewer argued that the confrontation with Jake seemed engineered purely to trigger more abuse from Theo, pointing out that Todd simply returning home could have achieved the same outcome. They expressed confusion over why Jake was seemingly brought back only to taunt someone already suffering mistreatment, predicting the character would likely disappear again for months. Another fan found Jake's antagonistic behavior unconvincing, recalling that not long ago there had been a storyline about his stepbrother experiencing bullying. Given what the family had endured, they felt it was unlikely Jake would suddenly take on the role of a tormentor himself. Coronation Street fans think they've uncovered a serial killer shock after Todd's box reveal. Viewers of the ITV drama believe a sinister storyline could be brewing for Jodie Ramsey, with some speculating she may secretly be a murderer following the discovery of a mysterious keepsake box. Jodie first appeared in Weatherfield earlier this year as the long-lost sister of Shona Platt, but audiences quickly sensed she wasn't being entirely truthful about her history. This week, tensions intensified when it was revealed that her and Shona's father's health had seemingly declined after both Shona and later Todd's mother walked out on him. However, a chilling warning Todd delivered to her dad hinted she may have played a role in his current condition. During Wednesday's episode, Todd was shown examining a strange box filled with assorted objects, including a USB stick, a bracelet, and a locket containing 2 photographs. As fans debated who the children pictured in the locket might be, others began to suspect the collection of items pointed to something far more disturbing. Some viewers commented on how unrelated the objects appeared, raising suspicions that Jodie might be gathering keepsakes rather than storing personal belongings. A lighter engraved with the name Jonesy alongside the photos led certain fans to question whether the possessions even belonged to her at all. Speculation quickly spread online, with some wondering if the items were trophies taken from victims in a potential killer twist. One social media user asked whether the box contained Todd's own mementos or grim reminders of darker deeds. Another viewer suggested the container could be a trophy cabinet documenting troubling actions from her past, while a third bluntly labeled her a serial killer. Further theories compared the plot to previous soap storylines, with one fan questioning whether the show might be introducing another villain similar to past murderous characters. They were particularly curious about what information might be stored on the USB stick and whether it connected to the ongoing Graham mystery. Others pointed out that while much attention had been placed on the locket, the remaining contents, especially the USB, might hold the biggest clues. The online chatter continued, with some viewers openly questioning if the trinkets were souvenirs taken from victims. At the same time, several fans expressed concern for Todd's father. After she chillingly stated earlier in the week that she no longer needed him, speculation mounted that she could be plotting to silence him permanently. One alarmed viewer wondered if she was about to snap and kill her dad, while another theorized she might murder him and attempt to frame Shona for the crime. The drama continues on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1, with episodes also available for streaming on ITVX and YouTube.